Hey everybody, it's Dave Mattis from Remax of Reading, and I'm here today with another one of my business spotlights. And today we are here to see Chris Flowers and his new business, the Reading Distilling Guild. They actually distill whiskeys and rum, etc., and we're going to hear all about that. So, how's it going, Chris?
Good. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. So, Reading Distilling Guild. So, tell me a little bit about it, how you got started, etc.
Well, we got started about 4.5 years ago when Pennsylvania decided to legalize distilleries again in the Commonwealth.
That's interesting.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's the first time since Prohibition that they were allowed in.
Wow.
And as soon as I found that out, I decided that this would be the path forward. Something
you wanted to do. So you said you talked about maybe starting up a restaurant, maybe decided that wasn't the right idea. So I was wondering what your passion was with regards to distilling these products. It seems pretty interesting.
I enjoyed restaurants. Just decided that to basically have to own a restaurant, you have to live there.
Right.
And that was not for me.
Right.
And then when I saw this opportunity, I still get to be part of it, but in a different capacity.
Yeah, very interesting.
Yes.
Yeah, I can't believe it took 4.5 years for you to get your permit. So you mentioned that as well.
That's a lot of, you have to go through every layer of the government, local, federal, state, and each one takes their time.
Yeah, I'm sure. Well, tell us, let's take a little spin through here and tell us about your operation here.
Well, basically, this is the main piece of equipment.
Okay.
This is our still.
Gotcha.
This is where you put they call it a mash.
Mm-hmm.
It's when you, molasses, water, and yeast, you turn that into, it's a mash is like a beer, so it'll be about a 10% alcohol.
Okay.
Then you transfer it into here, and this heats it up and runs the condensate through through the cooler, and at the end, the rum comes out.
Okay.
And this is a column still. So in this still, it has 4, they call them bubble plates. And these actually act like another still or a filter to increase the alcohol content and to take out some esters and some flavors you don't want in them.
And so basically it helps with the purity as well.
It helps with the purity,
yeah.
yes. And for some of the runs, we just let it pass right through and come out because you want some of those flavors to stay in.
Right.
And then for some of them, we'll run it through the still twice. The second time we run it through, we'll let 2 of these work just to refine it a little bit to get the proof up to about 160 proof when it comes out.
Okay, and that's for rum?
For rum, yes.
Okay, all right,
yes.
Very cool. You mentioned something about when you decide you want to flavor some of the products that the top sections are part of that?
Yeah.
Is that right?
So the first 4 where it's copper are the ones that filter. The one on top is called a gin basket.
Okay.
There's actually a screen on the bottom of it, and when we get into our gins, we'll take the top condenser off and we'll fill that with botanicals and other natural flavorings. So when it runs through the still, it'll be naturally flavored through that.
Okay.
And will come out as gin.
Ready to go.
Yep.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So over here you have some molasses, I think?
Yes, so these are our fermenters.
Okay.
These are 55-gallon fermenters, and this is a fermentation that is already done. So basically what we do is we add the molasses and hot water in here, and then add the yeast.
Okay.
And then it takes about 9 to 12 days for us to get to this final product.
And is that called mash then?
That's
or?
a mash.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
All right.
People call it mash, people call it beer, wort. It's all the same thing.
Gotcha.
It's basically alcohol that's made from yeast and not distilled. So any beer, wine, it's all the same thing.
Same process, essentially.
Yep,
okay.
same process.
All right. So before we look at the products that you sell, you have some bottles over there to show us. Just tell us where you are. How do people reach you? You know, how are you selling this? Are you in restaurants? And you mentioned the LCB as well.
Yeah.
So.
Right now you will hear small batch, you will hear craft, you will hear a lot of these words, and a lot of times they don't mean very much.
Right.
But as you can see, this is truly a small batch.
I would agree with that. Yeah.
I know some companies that do 100,000 bottles a day and call themselves small batch.
Right.
So right now we do different events around the city because the whole focus of this, obviously besides being a successful business, is to be part of the community of Reading
love
and
it.
Greater Reading. So we do
Fantastic.
a lot of farmers markets, charity events, any events that are coming around in Reading. In January, we're doing the Fire and Ice Festival downtown.
Got it. Yep. Nice event.
Yeah, so stuff like that, and we sell cocktails there. We'll sell bottles at these events, at the farmers markets and whatnot.
Right.
We're also in some select restaurants in the area, mostly in the city of Reading. Ugly Oyster, Foreston, the Cheers at Doubletree,
Okay.
Stokesay Castle, and have had a few meetings with the Liquor Control Board to get into the wine and spirit stores.
Oh, that'd be fantastic.
And that could literally happen any day. I'm just waiting for their first order.
Very
And then you'll be able to
interesting.
find us at every liquor store in Reading and the surrounding areas.
Gotcha. Very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. So they would look for Reading Distilling Guild.
Yeah, it's Reading Distilling Guild.
Okay.
The branding is more Reading than Reading Distilling Guild. That's just the name of our overall company.
Gotcha.
But as you can see, when you look at the bottles, it's prominently featured as Reading.
Yeah. So what are we looking at here? So we have some Christmas spiced rum.
This was our limited edition Christmas rum for this year.
All right.
We did a small batch of about 300 bottles, and we are going to be sold out by this weekend.
All right.
So
That's good
look
news.
forward to that next year.
Yeah.
And then we have our original classic white rum,
Okay.
and we also have our spiced rum.
Very good.
And when you see the colors in these rums, we don't add any artificial flavors, any colorings, caramels, sugars. The only way that these get their colors are from the spices that are in them.
Natural.
Everything on it is natural. We don't add sugars. For the spiced rum, we add some sweet orange peel and some raisins to give it a little bit of sweetness.
Wow.
And then the Christmas, we used tart cherries.
Very cool.
Yes.
So other than just finding you out in the community, how do you want people to do you want people to reach you at
Yes,
this point?
of course.
Yeah.
You can always find us on Facebook at Reading Distilling Guild.
Okay.
Our website is rdgspirits.com, and
Got
we're
it.
also on Twitter and Instagram.
Okay. Very good.